Picture this. Right now, somewhere on the planet, two total strangers are chatting in languages that evolved an ocean apart, yet, under the surface, their sentences are quietly following the same playbook. Wild, right? Today we're going to lift the hood on that hidden playbook and ask a simple question. Why do human minds keep reinventing the same grammatical tricks? First, let's bring it down to earth. Think about the last time you fired off a text with clumsy thumbs. You probably dropped a word here or mashed two ideas together, but your friend still got the gist. How? Your brain leans on shortcuts, little cues about who did what to whom, what's new information, what's being questioned. Those shortcuts don't just tidy up our messages, they leave fingerprints on how entire languages grow and change. Here's the big news. A fresh study looked at 1,740 languages, yes, 1740, and found they're not exploring every grammatical option equally. Instead, languages circle around a small set of good enough solutions that keep mental effort low while keeping meaning clear. That means our shared cognitive limits and our universal goal, be understood, are steering thousands of language histories down surprisingly similar paths. Now, zoom way out. The researchers treated languages like migratory species. Instead of birdwatching, they grammar watched, tracking how features spread, split, or even pop back up centuries after disappearing. Forget political borders. Their map showed faint corridors of shared structure, a tiny Amazonian village echoing patterns from the Caucasus, or a Pacific Island language drifting toward the same word order as a distant African cousin. The takeaway? Change itself has a recognizable shape. Signpost time. Let's zoom into the nuts and bolts. First dial. Who's doing what? Some languages slap endings on verbs, others lean on pronouns, many do both. Second dial. Word order. Is it ate the child the apple apple ate, or something in between? Third dial. Sound inventory. Do speakers use tones? Long strings of consonants? A P? An F? A click? The study followed 130 of these structural dials across all 1,740 languages. And guess what? They didn't spin randomly. Flip one switch, and certain companions tended to flip with it. For instance, languages that put verbs in the middle were far more likely to share specific choices about prepositions, relative clauses, and tense marking. Over time, those features glom together into recurring packages, bundles that keep reappearing even in languages with zero recent contact. How did the researchers spot those bundles? Two clever moves. First, they built family trees. When a feature switched in one branch, they asked, what happened next in the grandkids? Second, they threw a wide net across unrelated families to see which change paths kept getting rediscovered on opposite sides of the globe. Some routes were taken again and again. Others were basically grammatical dead ends. A striking example was pronouns. Even when a language had mostly ditched explicit I, you, or they, the model showed those pronouns almost always crept back within a few thousand years. Everyday conversation keeps nudging us toward clear reference, manageable word order, and recoverable meaning. One micro-choice at a time, speakers just trying to be understood end up creating giant, measurable patterns. Let that sink in for a second. Need a mental picture? Think of two kids on a playground inventing a secret code. At first, it's chaos. Cat means meat, brick means no parents. But pretty soon they iron out the clunky parts. Maybe they always put when first, or add a little tag to show a sentence is a joke. They're not copying a textbook, they're fixing misfires. Wait, what did you mean? Those same tiny repairs happen in street markets, online chats, or multilingual cities every single day. Stretch that playground over centuries and across continents. New contact varieties, creoles, urban youth dialects, keep inventing similar tricks for emphasis, politeness, or negation, even when their source languages are worlds apart. Signed languages, built from scratch by deaf communities, independently develop familiar ways to point, sequence events, and signal questions. Wherever humans improvise full-blown communication systems, the same solutions pop up like daisies through concrete. And here's where things get futuristic. The researchers talk about forecastable diversity. Future grammars will still taste different, but they'll probably orbit the same attractors. That sparks ethical questions. If we can predict shifts, Should tech platforms nudge autocorrect or subtitles toward certain variants? Should schools favor forms that fit those trajectories, like planting hedges along footpaths people already carve? Language, then, isn't a dusty museum. It's a city under non-stop renovation, alleys straightened, shortcuts paved, detours fenced off. As our models get sharper, we'll be able to forecast which streets new dialects might widen next. And that means choices, whose voices we spotlight, whose we quietly reroute. So, here's what we covered today, your speedy recap. 1. A study of 1,740 languages shows they cluster around good enough grammatical solutions rather than exploring every option. 2. Researchers tracked 130 structural dials and found certain features travel in packs, forming repeatable bundles across time and space. 3. Statistical models revealed some change paths are crowd favorites, like pronouns that keep coming back no matter how often they vanish. 4. Everyday micro-repairs, whether in playground codes, street slang, or brand new signed languages, scale up into global patterns you can actually predict. 5. That predictability raises big ethical questions for tech, education, and culture. If we can forecast the next renovation, how do we use or abuse that power? Takeaway? The next time you trip over your words or tweak a text, remember, you're part of an ancient worldwide renovation crew, quietly steering language toward those familiar landmarks. And now that you know the blueprint, you can listen for those hidden patterns in any conversation you join. Happy eavesdropping!